Purchase your track today. You made this. Purchase your track today. You made this.
They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. Yeah. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate. Yeah. I had to elevate. I'm way up, way too fly. Yeah, I'm feeling myself. Ain't no chance I'm coming down. No, got a soul view to myself. Yeah. Why would I give it up? Why do they wanna come take my place? I work too hard for it, don't need a replacement. It's my vocation. Now I got rollies all in rotation. Hop on a jet just to take a vacation. Remember the moments was trapped in the basement. Now the hard work is all taking me places. Water all bad like we trapped in the matrix. Bet on myself and go ball out in Vegas. Living a life like I'm rich and I'm famous. Don't see the grind that I know that it came with. I ain't make it this far for myself. I had to prove to everybody else. I had to set them straight. I had to boss up. I had to renovate. I know they hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out. Yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment. I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly. I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. Yeah, they hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate.
Burn Live, y'all. Marijuanically keeping y'all connected. Hashtagging these red eyes. Changing the viewers' eye red. Keeping underage smoking off social media. Definitely killing myself for your entertainment. Sitting here with friends and family. Starting a cannabisation. We back. What's up, y'all? What's up? What's up? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever time you're watching this. I appreciate you tuning in to another Burn Live show. I am your host, Capiche. I do have a co-host. He might not make it. He might not make it today, so therefore it's just me, Capiche. I'm your host. Welcome to another Burn Live show. Please like, share, comment if you would like to. I got a few topics I want to get to. A couple of the topics I wasn't able to put in the title or in the details we will be discussing. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please get your blunts, joints, bongs, whatever you need to smoke and relax and enjoy the show and get into some informational commentating stuff. You know what I'm saying? I need y'all to do it. First of all, I'm going to start off with some couple of small stories real quick. And I think the smallest story and one of the best stories to even start off with It's the story I did see today about hijacking of a bus. It was to me, it was crazy, y'all. Just and I think matter of fact, no lie to y'all. I seen this right before I came on. I was like, oh, here's a small story of the day, just to compute with people, just to get the show started. Yeah, because I feel like every bad news is not bad news, just keeping y'all informed of what's going on.
That breaking news in DeKalb County right now, where the roads are still closed off after a bus was hijacked. I'm Tori Cooper.
And I'm Alan Devlin. Atlanta News First was the first to show you live pictures of police actually trying to stop this bus. It was first hijacked on Ivan Allen Jr. Boulevard in downtown Atlanta.
The bus then hopped on Interstate 85 in Gwinnett County before exiting on Jimmy Carter Boulevard and eventually stopping on Hugh Howell Road in DeKalb County.
Atlanta News First Madeline Montgomery is live there now, where police still investigating.
And Madeline, I understand he spoke to a man whose wife was on that bus.
I did. He's still shocked that she had anything to do with this situation, where investigators are still caught up figuring out what exactly happened.
I see there's a bus speeding towards our direction, and it starts going to the wrong side of the road.
A shocking day for Atlanta drivers.
This big cloud of debris happened, and then police just started passing us. It felt like forever.
This Gwinnett Transit bus hijacked, according to Atlanta police, and taken on a high-speed chase with 17 passengers inside.
So it's almost like a disbelief. You just don't really realize, okay, this really did happen.
John Gilbert's wife, Paulette, already had an eventful day.
She called me after lunch and she said, "You are not gonna believe this. There was a shooting in the food court."
When she called again, she was on this bus.
It's just some guy that was on the bus, and then this other guy gets on the bus being disruptive, and the guy supposedly asked him to, behave himself or whatever, calm down. And I don't know if that's what started the verbal fight, but next thing we know, he was shot.
John told Paulette to lay low while he stayed on the phone.
I lost contact with her for about 50 minutes, so I had no idea what was going on. The worst, honestly, I had no idea. Never felt like that before. So we've been together for a long time.
During that time, police and state troopers were using spike strips to stop the bus. Once they did, they found one man shot. He eventually died. They arrested 39-year-old Joseph Greer as the suspected gunman and hijacker.
I'm just glad it's over with. At least that part of it. I have no idea what's going to happen here next, but I'm just glad that she's all right.
Police say Joseph Greer has been arrested 19 previous times, and he is a convicted felon. Reporting live in Smoke Rise, I'm Madeline Montgomery, Atlanta News First.
When you hear that somebody got a felony that big and that many times, to me, it makes me want to look at the mayor like, okay, this your fault. You must ain't got no laws in place to make it strict on us to help us. It's got to be, y'all. When I seen that, that's what came to my mind. If we're gonna play these reindeer games like that, then yeah, I'm gonna blame it on the mayor. Like, come on, bro, hijacking. Dude got how many felonies? Different charges. Oh, he been down this road before. Stop playing. Stop playing. Another little short news I wanted to bring up is this little report. Somebody else's video, but it does give a light on how Democrats look at us. I don't know why they look at us like this, but it does give us an idea of how Democrats, I don't know, my black people like stop with the Democrat Republican, but I don't know. To me, you have to listen to what come out of other people's mouths, and then you be like, well, I kind of got to keep
Room
my
of
eyes
black
open.
Republicans, where are they? I'd love to see them. It would be like looking at unicorns.
An In-N-Out double with fries and a drink now costs more than $10 in California.
More mediocre white people. Thank you for the smiles, sir. There, a chubby mediocre white man. Hi, excuse me, ma'am. Can we ask you your stance on Palestine?
The mainstream media goes full-on racist towards black conservatives. Another fail in California.
See that key word of what he's saying, how black conservative. Black people, we want things, and then we start being independent. We think different. Then it's still that group that got to get shined on. But yet again, you can shine on a Republican group, and we don't frown, we don't bat an eye, we don't do none of that stuff of the sorts. And I just wanted to point that out real quick. Like, yeah, this is a shame that people actually can find real racism comments and stuff like that go on, and there's no backlash because yet again it's to a Republican. I think that's stupid. I did want to bring that up real quick because simple fact, it's just a little short story, short news of things that are going on in the world. It's ridiculous, y'all. It's straight ridiculous. All right. To get a little bit, and let me take a quick commercial break because my dog needs water. Hold on, y'all.
If you feel it, 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 if you feel it,
I try to remember everything, but sometimes I don't remember everything. And that's the number one thing I definitely be trying to remember is to make sure that my dog has water before I start my streaming. I mean, definitely on days that I'm going for more than 1 hour, 3 or 4 hours streaming. Yeah, I definitely be trying. Sometimes I forget. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I did not look this up myself, but when the story came across my timeline, I ain't gonna lie to nobody. I was shocked just like you. I was like, no. Really? And I'm gonna play two different versions because simple fact, to me, hilarious. You know, when a person keep it real, when a person keep it one, no matter what they say, I look for realness in what somebody says. This is a person, period. I know you're gonna be offended or what she says, but keeping it real in her world. I'm not offended.
Everybody I know who's married right now, they're married to broke ass niggas.
Oh, the internet is big mad. And I tell you what, I don't care. I love it when people just say what they want to say without caring about your feelings. People that y'all like listening to, that be rapping every day, they listen to it too. They can't like Drake and them. They can't sing along to Drake. They the ones paying Drake. Y'all ain't bringing in the money. The white folks bringing in the money from the hip hop music. You want to bet me? White people buy more records than y'all. They sell out more stadiums than y'all. And these rappers are all over the world. You think when they go to Europe, it's packed with black people? No, it's not. No, it's not. So if the white people paying the money, they should be able to say the words. But if the words you've taken back and it don't offend you no more, so they should be able to say it. One thing I love about this girl, we can't find her social media. I don't know if any of these social medias out there that are real. I'm not going to even mention them because I don't know if they're real. If she watched this video, reach out to us. I love to interview you or whatever the case may be and find out what your real platform is. However, I love the fact that she just don't give a F about what people say. Roll the clip.
So a recent video of mine seems to have upset members of a certain community. Gold diggers, but that's the exception. I'm the rule. Everybody I know who's married right now, they're married to broke ass. And all the backlash just really made me, just really do a deep dive, like do a soul search. And after all that, I still couldn't find a care.
I know my little audience is big mad and big shocked. Like, how can you play this and not be upset that this woman said what she said? She has no remorse. If all her if all her friends is dating broke ass niggas, and it's true and it's a fact, why should I get mad? It's like, choose your friends better. Choose your husband or wives or whoever she is considering better. Like, it's not their fault. It's not her fault that the black community is broke compared to whatever her standards. If they're putting down, oh, I know what people want to hear from me. She's putting down a black man. And you tired of the woman putting down a black man? You act like stopping her is gonna start a whole movement. It's not gonna start a movement. It's still gonna put you down. I mean, it's still gonna be haters, still gonna be lovers, still gonna be them people that are very controversial in things that they hear and see and want to pronounce as their own. So why am I should be mad? But then I'm finna show you other people that is not mad versus people that are mad, and then it's like, okay, what is your true opinion? It's 2024, bro. That word been around for how many years? Been saying it. You said it. You allow your white friends to say it, but a white stranger can't say it. Not on social media. Not calling them broke. Not like all black people are broke.
They got the white girl got these people in a frenzy, man. She ain't doing the slave and a Negro that never was a slave and understand why is there a difference? And when I talk to the mind of Brandon Tatum, I say, Brandon, there is no difference. You making it more than what it really is. A person can say whatever words they want to say. We live in America. And she didn't say it to a specific person. She said the name in general or the word in general. Also, she got other content out. This is why we can't find her. And let me tell you what, she gonna go viral because she look like that. But can I just be honest? You see how she look? Now, I can't stand women with potty mouths. I can't stand women that curse like that. However, look at her, and she's spitting facts. She will be viral tomorrow. We need to make merch for her.
So all those nerds in high school, like the weird theater kids and the
This is another video that's going viral, just so you know.
anime people and you know who I'm talking about, the people we didn't hang out with. So they've grown up now and they're the ones making the laws. They're the Mark Zuckerbergs. They're the Faucis of the world of nerds. Those dorks that never got in high school and they've got a major chip on their shoulder against the normies. That's why you see all these making laws. Oh, you can be obese and anorexic. Okay, sure. They're the ones inventing clown world. They're the ones in media. They're the actors. You wonder why actors are so politically leftist? Oh, right. It's because they're theater kids. They're the theater kids who grew up, and now they're telling me and you what to think. They're telling me and you what to do, and they're making the laws in this country. Well, it's time to stand the up and stop being scared. Like, why are we scared of these people? They were massive losers in high school, and they're massive losers today. It's time to put the nerds back in their place, stand the up, and speak. So
now I don't know who this woman is. I don't.
That's funny. She talking about the massive nerds are making news out. Okay, cool. Now she want she want to stand up and do something about it. Vote. Now, this one is
Faced a lot of
is this it?
a very successful trans woman on this app. Jory.
Hold on. That ain't it. I like it when he has his version of it because he has the ridiculing haters. I ain't got time to be making no videos for like this.
The N-word.
I like to live stream it.
something that's absolutely unforgivable is people who play the victim card while living in America. You live in the freest, safest country in the world, and you have the nerve to play the victim card.
She do be saying a lot of facts. These are just a lot of little videos of her saying a lot of little things that are technically kind of true. Like you look around, like, yep, you can look that up.
Realize there are slave traders in Africa right now. Look it up. Look up that video of all those African slaves at an auction. That's going on right now. And you have the nerve to be complaining about racism in America? I got news for you, dumb. Everybody has happened to everybody. Everybody's had a hard time in life. You're not unique, okay? You're not unique because you belong to a minority or you're a woman. We're all lucky as shit to be born in this country. That's the exception. I'm the rule. Everybody I know who's married right now, they're married to broke ass.
It's the body though the head for me.
So a recent video of mine seems to have upset members of a certain community, and
Look at her facial expression.
all the backlash just really made me, just really do a deep dive, like do a soul search. And after all that, I still couldn't find a care.
You're gonna call us racist. You're gonna call us.
It's the facial expressions for me. And now people making TikToks off her blowing up. Oh my God.
Potential Timothy McVeigh's. You. War.
Man, freedom of speech, man. You know what I'm saying? You got it. You got that. You got that. People. All these people flipping. I know he got videos on here of the people that's flipping out. Where are the flipping outers? There they are. There they are. That's what I want. That's what I want us to see. I want to see the flipping out people. Because I know he picks out the best.
Take a look.
So y'all remember this girl, the girl that decided that, she's going to tell a story and call everybody her friends were dating some broke ass ninjas. Yeah. Guess what happened?
She act like she can't say the word nigga. Broke ass niggas.
They fired her ass. They blew up her job. They found out where she worked and they blew up her job, baby. And she doubled down. This was her double down video because they made her take the other video down. But she had the nerve to double down and didn't think nobody was going to find you and locate your job. I even called your job. I sure did. I called it. That thing is blocked. You can't even leave a message. They blew up your jobs. This is what happens when you spew hate on the internet. It lasts forever. Good luck finding another job because as soon as they see your face and other people see your face, they're going to come back to these videos that are saved forever and people and you're going to lose that job too because no one wants a racy individual at their establishment.
And this is exactly why I think we should share that. Whenever somebody want to get racist and stupid on the internet, let's share that as much as we can. Because yes, I understand what people were saying, hey, block it and ignore it. Yeah, but that won't really give it consequences. You know what I'm saying? Other than yeah, you're not giving it attention, but it ain't going away. And I mean, hey, it's still not going away, but at least she got her job now. I'm much happier than ignoring her now. You feel me? This is why I like expose racists and get them out there. And then I remember seeing her apology video, and she's talking about what was it? The freedom of speech. She's talking about freedom of speech, and yes, freedom of speech is cool, but not freedom of consequences. That doesn't mean just because no one can stop you from saying it, yes, but that don't mean we can't not do nothing to you. Y'all got to get out more and understand.
Yeah. So you see that, you heard that. Now they done got this woman canceled. She done lost her job over a word that probably at least 1/4 of the population uses frequently, right? Probably, if not more. I wouldn't be surprised if half of the population uses the N-word frequently when you count behind closed doors usage, okay? Because I can tell you guys, there are so many people that use this word, and it's not even just black folks. This is what kind of annoys me about this story. There's nothing that she said that was racist, right? She used the word casually to refer to a group of people that she knows. And that word is always used that way, right? Almost all the time by Black people, by non-Black people. It's used like that all the time, right? She didn't use it in a derogatory way, okay?
There's nothing I got to explain. It's nothing I got to say. Oh, God. What more do I have to say? Like, hold on. Sorry. Basically, if you was offended that she said you shouldn't have your friends said, you shouldn't have your mama said, you shouldn't have your cousin said, nobody should be allowed to say it in America. If you are offended, if you're any of these people right here, where they at? If you, especially if you're a man and you're this guy and you're feeling like this, and this is the type of monstrosity that you feel, but yet again, you can probably say cracker and spoon and spick and whatever other racial slang that's out there, then yeah, you're a hypocrite. Stop playing. It doesn't make sense to me that we're upset because a white girl, and I think old dude said it kind of right too, a pretty white girl said the N-word, talking about her friends who they have married. Now, nobody wanted, like, man, okay, the world got mad. Well, United States of America got mad or whatever. Did her friends get mad? Did her friends look at who they dating like, damn, old girl got a point? She might just have a point there. Damn, I hate to be truthful with myself, but she might have. Just saying. She just might. There comes a time where points need to be made. Man, let me deal with this small little news because this is getting popular.
China has become the world's largest $9,200 equivalent US dollars.
Chinese automakers are going to come here eventually, and they're going to do it regardless of if there's a tariff or not.
40 years ago or so, the Chinese auto industry barely existed. Today, the country makes enough cars to supply half the world.
I call it the Great Godzilla. The world has never seen an auto industry of this size, scale. This is a giant machine just getting ramped up.
And it has its eyes on the United States, which, thanks to China's rise, is now the second largest car market on the planet. There are no Chinese car brands for sale in the US at the moment, although a few other ones like Volvo, Polestar, and Lotus are Chinese owned. But insiders say it's only a matter of time. The country has been ramping up exports to offload overcapacity. Surveys indicate a large share of shoppers, especially younger ones, would be happy to buy a Chinese car, despite concerns over privacy, etc. But not everyone shares the enthusiasm. President Biden slapped Chinese automakers with stiff tariffs, effectively doubling the price of a Chinese export EV, which can otherwise be at least as cheap as $11,500. Within the auto industry, opinions vary, but many say tariffs might not be that effective in the long run and may do more harm than good. So, what are the alternatives? We asked some industry insiders to find out.
For the Detroit 3, for Toyota, for Hyundai, to compete well against these Chinese brands, it's going to take something more than simply raising the tariff from 25% to 100%.
Yo, I'm hearing, I think I did a small report, or I probably didn't. I should definitely try to put that report out there. But I'm hearing definitely like in California, because California is one of the #1 states for electric cars switching over, that the gas tax has decreased and they're not able to fill that part of the bargain for us. Texas goes for California, so therefore now they're going to make a new electric vehicle tax. So people that's getting electric cars do pay attention, be aware of a tax that's probably brewing sometime soon in the near future in your new neighborhood. Okay, it's going down.
I'm not exaggerating when I say what China, the challenge that China is presenting the world, including the United States, is unprecedented. You know, in the case of the Japanese and Koreans, when they came into the United States, we were able to persuade, maybe coerce a little bit. Hey, if you want to sell here, you have to build your transplant here, but they could own it. And they were our allies. And ultimately, they were more dependent on us than we were on them. They were more. In China's case, we don't have that kind of leverage with them.
China has the capacity to make half the world's cars, 4 times as many as the US typically makes. Annual demand within the country is about 25 million units. That leaves 15 million cars for export, nearly as many as the US can sell in a good year. China sent 5 million cars to over 100 countries in 2023, making it one of the largest exporters in the world.
You see Chinese cars now in virtually every market except for the United States and Canada. And because there's so much capacity at home and the market at home has a price war, the Chinese automakers themselves are super motivated to get out and push their products into Europe, the United States.
A mix of favorable policies and a booming economy got them to where they are today. China welcomed foreign automakers into the country beginning in the 1980s.
Basically, they finna try to come over here and bring electric cars and make them cheaper, make them a lot more affordable. Ooh, yeah, it's gonna cause a big collision in this so-called war and game of the electronic world, EV world. Man, I just found out there's EV Formula One racing. It's been out for maybe 10 years now, and I would no lie was shocked. I was like, damn, straight up. So you do got to be careful. And if another country is making something a lot affordable, that's all America is looking for, more affordable, because we're paying taxes for everything.
And especially after some policy changes in the following decade. Rules were simple. Foreign firms could sell cars in the country as long as they partnered with a local Chinese automaker. Chinese firms also made some cross-border investments. Chinese automaker Geely bought Volvo cars from Ford, for example. And finally, many companies are government-owned, and even private firms receive generous subsidies. EV maker BYD received $3.7 billion between 2018 and 2022, for example.
In state capitalism, the objective is we're going to build a world powerhouse auto industry. To get there, we need great companies, but by the way, at the local, provincial, and federal level, we'll also offer all kinds of help. So the Western automakers look at that and say, how in the world do we compete?
But Chinese companies have also built strong products.
When they came to the Detroit Auto Show 15 years ago, their cars were not competitive. You could see the quality issues with those vehicles as you sat in them, as you played around with them. Now, those cars are much higher quality. They are very competitive once they're hit the ground.
And they pay attention to all the configuration of every seat in the car, not just the driver's cockpit. That's what I think obsoletes the traditionally designed and styled vehicle.
Bill Russo, a former Chrysler executive, says the Chinese have been extremely successful in developing new business models based around software and services. Many recent entrants have backgrounds in technology, electronics, and mobile devices markets.
When the iPhone came, the Nokia products went away quickly. That's what's happening in China now in the car business.
American consumers are also receptive to Chinese cars. Nearly half of respondents in a recent survey said they are familiar with Chinese vehicle brands, and 76% under the age of 40 said they would consider buying a Chinese car. Consideration then declined significantly among older consumers. Grappling with this new reality, tariffs have become a popular political...
That better not be a whole shipment container full of cars. That's crazy. Sitting there, not being used, just, I guess you can say, collecting rust.
critical tool, especially with former President Trump beginning in 2018. Auto executives at the time, famously Tesla CEO Elon Musk, decried what they considered an imbalance between US and Chinese trade rules. Lately, it is the Biden administration who is focused on tariffs. First and foremost, EVs. Tariffs on them will increase from 25% to 100% in 2024. The administration says China's extensive subsidies and non-market practices have led to substantial risks of overcapacity. Chinese EV exports grew 70% from 2022 to 2023. They're also raising tariffs on an array of materials used in car making: lithium-ion batteries, graphite, magnets, steel, aluminum, and semiconductors. China controls more than 80% of certain segments of the EV battery supply chain, the administration said. That leaves U.S. supply chains vulnerable and risks national security and clean energy goals. Some politicians are pushing for even harder restrictions. The industry's response is
basically don't want to turn Chinese into a monopoly. You don't want to start a new company in a new field and already have a monopoly sitting over there just ready to take over your state or your country in this point of view. And that's basically what they're saying. You got a company that grew faster in other countries than it did here in the market, here in America. America is ready for that type of world to begin and start, but yet again, you don't want them to come over here and you don't have your regulations and your taxes down right, because they'll take advantage of that and then they'll be a powerhouse. We don't want China to keep being powerhouses in our state. We want America to be a powerhouse in America, especially in America. That only makes sense to me.
mixed. Labor leaders are in support for obvious reasons. So is the Alliance for Automotive Innovation, the auto industry's major trade association. Tesla CEO Elon Musk criticized the tariffs, but even he had said earlier in 2024 that without trade barriers, most Western automakers would be demolished by Chinese competition. They can sell EVs cheaper than the cheapest fuel-burning cars.
Trade barriers. Yet again, you don't want a company that ain't over here yet just sitting on like, yeah, soon as they touch down, we're going to stop buying American cars, buy their cars because their cars are cheaper. But yet again, are they regulated under American traditions and what we trying to put out on our streets over here in America? You already know they got shortcuts. They already the number one supplier in it when it comes to batteries. So yeah, now I hope this all servicing out to let you know that, like, yeah, this is a problem if we don't fix it. We can't join something and sit back and don't have no type of benefit. We might as well, unfortunately, move to China and take advantage of it and invest in it. Now, investing in it, I wonder, could we even invest in this stuff as a market? Like, if it's enough shares low enough for us to invest in it, even though they've been doing this a long time, but yet again, it's not over here in America. And I think if we invest in stock market of it, that'll push it more to be coming over here in America, because then you want to see your product on the street.
And according to some, are way ahead of competition in software and tech. But Russo is skeptical of tariffs. The Trump-era trade war may have been a missile aimed at Beijing, but it landed squarely on Detroit, he once wrote. Two things happened. First, the trade war drove up the costs of a lot of parts American automakers source from China or elsewhere. GM and Ford both reported that the Trump tariffs in 2018 saddled them each with an additional $1 billion in steel and aluminum costs. Secondly, it likely accelerated the globalization of Chinese companies looking to circumvent trade rules by making investments beyond their own borders.
They're building factories in Mexico. They're building factories all over the world. Africa, Middle East, Europe, Eastern Europe, Western Europe, Southeast Asia. There's never been a bigger effort by China to de-China-ize its supply chain than right now.
If elected, Donald Trump pledged to place a 100% duty on any car made in Mexico by a Chinese company. Policy analysts say doing so would violate the terms of the very agreement Trump made with Mexico. It might also cause further friction with the country, which in 2023 became the US's largest trading partner. In any event, executives like Russo argue that these measures are delaying the inevitable. American firms need to face up to the fact that Chinese companies have extremely competitive and attractive products, and American consumers want them.
If you can make aspirational products affordable with configurations that surprise and delight the users of that platform, that's a universal value proposition. And sorry, Americans buy Chinese stuff and have been for decades, have been enjoying the benefits of that in terms of affordability forever. If you shut that off, all you're going to do is make it more expensive.
There are alternatives.
Take a page from what China did 30 years ago when it was just starting out, and it said, hey, you want to come into our market, the United States? Welcome. But by the way, in order to sell here, you have to manufacture here. You have to build plants here. And when you manufacture here, you have to form a joint venture with an American company that'll own half of the business. Oh, okay. And by the way, we'd like you to export from America too, so that we get extra benefits of you being here.
We can do the same. That's called flipping the script. The problem isn't that we have to keep them out. The problem is we should let them in to give ourselves the benefits of the DNA that they've been able to create, and then, but do it under a guided process, do it with policies. And right now, nobody's writing those policies. Nobody's writing policies that allow some of the benefits of globalization and scale and product configurations and technologies to flow back to the Western world. And that's going to really weaken it's not going to help the industry. It's going to weaken the industry if we don't allow that to happen.
And even though there are no Chinese branded cars for sale in the US yet, more than 100 Chinese-owned automotive companies have a presence in the United States already. They are concentrated in Detroit and Silicon Valley, and there are Chinese auto suppliers scattered across 30 US states.
But you'd never know it because we don't see Chinese cars on American roads, so it doesn't occur. No, what? That can't possibly be true. But it is. They're here. They're getting ready for the time when it's right to enter and sell their cars to Americans.
Man, something to think about. I know a lot of people out there, I know y'all probably want to get into the electric world. Here's a little information, little research for you, just in case you're thinking about getting a car. I hope this was information. I hope this was helpful to you. I do. I think that was helpful to me, making me think about like, man, okay, what type of policies would you put in for another country to come over here? And if they're going to start having products, they need to build their laboratories over here. Basically, ship over here, you're over here, you live over here, you produce over here, and when you ship out, we get the American export for you to export to a whole nother country or back to your home country. Okay. So that's the idea of what we're trying to put out there and stuff like that. I do want to see what's up with this short real quick.
Mom, Dad, if you see this, major props to you.
Quit your job right now for $100,000 cash. People here today are people like suffering. All right, I'm with a El Pollo worker that didn't quit. Just gave him the 15 grand from Dana White. He didn't want to leave his coworker suffering, man. He's a real one, so Dana White took care of him.
Are you joking?
Just the way you reacted to it is just something that we're grateful to have you as part of our team. El Pollo Loco. Oh, no. Give you a check for $20,000.
Oh, wow. And kid, respect. You could have been tempted to take the money and you didn't. Your character is so solid. Who raised this kid?
That's dope. Told you, man. I be trying to show y'all inspiring things, y'all. It's always not bad what I try to show. I ain't always trying to show you negative. Positive things out there to show off.
Damn.
Show it one more
if you
time.
see this,
One more
major
time.
props to you.
Quit your
Major
job right
props.
now for $100,000 cash. People here today are people like suffering. All right, I'm with a El Pollo worker that didn't quit. Just gave him the 15 grand from Dana White. He didn't want to leave his coworker suffering, man. He's a real one, so Dana White took care of him.
Are you joking?
Just the way you reacted to it is just something that we're grateful to have you as part of our team. The Hoyle Loco give you a check for $20,000.
Wow. Wow. And kid, respect. You could have been tempted to take the money.
Oh, me. That's what's up, y'all. Shout out to the kid. I'm glad I'm glad I was able to put that on my show and show it off to y'all and give a chance for y'all to see something spectacular and good news and going on like that. And let's go see what's going on with this damn case. What's going on?
I'm going to
y'all?
order that you be taken into custody, incarcerated in the Fulton County Jail for no more than 20 days for this contempt.
He is tripping.
Those 20 days consisting of every weekend for the next 10 weekends. And you'll be reporting to 901 Wright Street Northwest, Atlanta, Georgia, 30318 at 7 p.m. on Fridays. You'll be released on 7 p.m. on Sundays.
Told you.
Sure.
Unbelievable.
I'm going to file a notice of appeal, but for whatever reason that doesn't take, and you don't give a bond, then I'd ask that I can be with Mr. Williams and we work on our case all weekend.
Oh, cool. Sleepover with Young Thug.
You know, but he's kind of put himself in the particular position he's in.
No, Judge, I don't agree. I believe that
I'm going to disagree with you, okay?
I believe that the court has put him in that position.
No.
He cannot be held in the law states, McClarity, which I cited to you earlier.
And it's true that direct summary contempt, which arises in the presence of the court, intends to scandalize it and or hinder or obstruct the orderly process of the administration of justice. The preservation of order and decorum in the court is exempt from due process requirements of notice and hearing. That's even Moody, goes back to 1974. So I believe that Mr. Steele, he can file whatever motions, but his particular actions in this case, I just want to know who told him this. That's all. I'm not asking him this to release or otherwise tell any conversations, but I just want him to tell me that.
And Judge, so that's what you want, but that does not conflate to a contempt. Your desire for him to answer your question does not mean that you have the power to hold him in contempt.
So you can come into court, Mr. Merton, and not answer a question of the court, not be
Yes.
held in contempt?
If it's a question that the court is not permitted to ask, yes.
Okay, well, this is a question the court's permitted to ask.
And it's our position, if we had a hearing, we could explain to the court why he is not required. First of all, the court accused him of eavesdropping. That is a crime. He has a Fifth Amendment privilege against answering those questions. Rule 1.6 protects all confidential information that is gained not from your client, but in representation of your client. He has the ability to protect that information. But we don't even need to get there because he can't be held in contempt, and you can't threaten him with contempt for presenting a motion in good faith. He presented a motion in good faith that he believed there were ex parte communications. You are a witness to that because it's my understanding that you were part of those ex parte communications. They can't be ex parte if you weren't part of them by nature.
Okay, well,
You have to be involved. Therefore, you have to be a witness. The other issue is if it is a criminal contempt and you are finding him guilty of criminal contempt, then we have to have a sentence imposed. Now, civil is where you get to hold him until he complies. Criminal is where you get to impose a sentence, maximum 20 days and a $1,000 fine. So if you're going to incarcerate him under a criminal contempt, he's got to be sentenced.
Well, his
When I say it goes down in the courtroom, sometimes courtroom drama is the best drama to watch. This is one of those moments. And ladies and gentlemen, I didn't even know this was going to be part of the show. So I'm glad that we get to sit here and watch. Actually, I thought this was the Young Thugger case because I seen a Young Thugger case earlier, but on County Judge by okay, this is the Trump Fannie Wallace. See if she's gonna be on the trial and whatnot. Okay.
his contempt is as long as he when he tells me
That's a civil
what
contempt.
the basis of the conversation was, who I didn't ask what, but he tells me that, then I can certainly he purges himself of the contempt.
Then that's civil, Judge.
That's civil contempt.
That's civil.
And that's the okay.
And Judge, that's why we're trying to figure out if it's criminal versus civil. So the issue is you're picking and choosing. You're saying, well, you get the bad side of criminal and no bond, but I really am actually trying to punish you civilly, which is when you hold someone until they comply.
Okay, let me think about this a second, okay? I'm gonna take 5 minutes out. I'm gonna think about it.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. So we'll be in recess about 5 minutes.
Basically, for what we heard, y'all, and we haven't been watching this as long as these other people that you see up here, but sound like the judge tried to overjudge something that was incorrect by law, which one is federal versus civil. And that's another thing I definitely need to learn. So when I'm talking about things on here, I can know the difference and how to present it to y'all. Because even I'm sitting here like, I'm baffled, like, huh? What? Okay, it's going down, but I know. I'm sorry, y'all. But interesting. Still want to know what's going on.
As the fanny pack turns. Hey guys, it's your girl Melanie. So now we are picking up after the judge was gone for about 45 minutes to an hour. And after Ashley Merchant scorched him, he is now coming back with his ruling because he has, I mean, we know he's an idiot. He said he would be gone 5 minutes, but it took him that long to come back. Now let's see what actually happens. Make sure you guys are subscribed. You're not going to want to miss any of my updates. I'm going to break down several other things that have happened in this case and why Fulton County is an absolute cesspool, and it is rock bottom when it comes to corruption. It is absolutely insane. So here we go.
All right, counsel, I've made a clarification or to the order of contempt. Mr. Steele, I am going to hold you under, still hold you in summary criminal contempt pursuant to OCGA 15-1-3, subpart 3, for your failure to comply with my earlier order today. I'm going to order that you be taken into custody, incarcerated in the Fulton County Jail for no more than 20 days for this contempt.
He is tripping.
Those 20 days consisting of every weekend for the next 10 weekends. And you'll be.
You got the white girl. You got the white girl mouth drop like he's tripping. Mouth hitting the ground. Everybody else just calmly looking like, I can't believe it. Just in disgust. Like, look, we in disgust and we don't even know what's going on. You just sending somebody to jail because they didn't reply to answering a question that you wanted answered.
Reporting to 901 Wright Street Northwest, Atlanta, Georgia, 30318 at 7 p.m. on Fridays. You'll be released on 7 p.m. on Sundays. And it's just commence this Friday, June the 14th at 7 p.m. and not to end until Sunday, August the 18th at 2024, 7 p.m. subject to further order of this court.
How about no?
And that will be entered and e-filed. You may take whatever steps you and your counsel deem appropriate.
Shame on him.
Okay. Told you. Sure.
Unbelievable.
I'm going to file a notice of appeal, but for whatever reason that doesn't take, and you don't give a bond, then I'd ask that I can be with Mr. Williams and we work on our case all weekend.
Oh, cool. Sleepover with Young Thug.
Speak with Mr. Williams.
That's what I thought
That's
this
up
was
to
a
you,
young
sir.
case.
I will, sir. If that comes to pass, you have my support. I will share.
Oh, your support. Your support.
If that should occur. Okay. All right.
So, Judge.
Okay.
So basically, the judge had to go back because he couldn't figure out that Ashley had to school him on the difference between criminal and civil contempt, which he should not be allowed to do either. But the guy was trying to pick and choose parts that he wanted. You need to tell me who snitched on me, or I'm going to also hold you in contempt as a criminal. Like, it's just, he was confused. So he had to go back, like I said, for an hour and figure this out, even though he said 5 minutes. So now he's coming back out and saying it's going to be criminal, and he's going to have him do weekend jail for 20 days. So he's not until August. He is going to be having to do weekends in the jail from Friday night starting at 7 p.m. till Sunday starting at 7, getting out at 7 p.m. And so Brian Steele, the attorney there for Young Thug, said, well, listen, lock me up with my client so I can be with him during the weekends so we can talk about this case and what needs to go down. This is insane, guys. So Brian Steele, they're calling him YSL Steele now, where the attorney The attorney and the defendant are going to be locked up together on the weekends, doing time together. But we believe appeal is going to happen, and this won't mostly.
This Young Thugger case is getting out of hand. This got to be the most wild, obnoxious, dysfunctional case of all. And a lot of people probably like, Young Thugger, he's still in court. What are you going? He's going to court over RICO case, over something that he did and so-called put it in some rap songs. And this is a while back. I had a debate with a couple other people when we was talking about freedom of speech, and would you rather have freedom of speech, but if your freedom of speech and you put it in a rap song actually go together and they match a crime, can we hold you in contempt? A lot of people want to argue the word no, 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 and this is what you get. But also in this case, 101 other things have went down, and yet again, they keep adding to the bull of this case. And yet again, it's so much that I can't keep up because yet again, there's other news. I'm starting to grow the channel. We having other people be coming through and stuff like that. So yet again, I always got to remind yourself that this case is going on and try to come back and catch up on the information and the news that's going on.
Go forward, but if it was to happen, that's what he would be doing time with him. So it's quite hilarious. And then it's just about, I support you. You support him going to jail. This judge knows that he's caught red-handed, knows that he is over for him, but he's just throwing everything to the wall. I think he just wants it to end. I'm actually going to do another video to bring legal analysis that the three of them talk about. The guy on the bottom is actually a reporter for The Guardian and for Rolling Stone. The woman there is an attorney in Georgia that has dealt with these prosecutors, Fannie Willis, and this particular judge. And then inside the law, the guy at the top, he runs this channel right here. So they actually brought some really good insight, especially the reporter, onto actually some other illegal activities that he did to the reporters in this case. I definitely want to bring that to you guys.
All right.
What a move.
Disgusting. He should be.
All right.
I'm talking about steel.
I'm down.
No, just lock me up and skip on Young Thug on the weekends.
Yeah, I love that.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Burchin and Miss Susser.
Thank you.
Okay.
Alex, you're looking good. Looking good, Alex. Good for you.
I'm curious.
Yes, in fact, the clerk is going to file a copy. It's going to be filed. It'll be on the e-file system momentarily. You should be able to get a copy of it from there, directly download from there.
And Judge, Ms. Merchant and I will file entries of appearance on behalf of Mr.
Any other time, the video stay down here. Yep, this is the case, y'all.
Intimidating Woody and his attorney, explaining to him, you better testify. That's what I think was happening. And you can't do that. You cannot do that in an ex parte situation. The judge has not denied once that actually happened. He's just claiming that it's permissible. I don't know what planet he's.
Two other journalists out of the room before Woody returned to court and said, look, if we have to arrest Woody, if we have to arrest Kenneth Copeland, that you're not to record this. No audio, don't take pictures. I have a Rule 22. That's an agreement between the court and media about conduct and access. And I had to retain counsel in order to get into that courtroom because they were blocking journalists from being in there, ostensibly on security grounds. So this contravened the Rule 22. I asked for an explanation. They really wouldn't give it to me, but they said they were acting on the instructions of the judge, and that if I needed that put into the record, that I could ask him to do that. And so I went to the staff attorney immediately after talking to the sheriff's deputies and said, put this on the record, please. It's like I blew $3,000 trying to get this Rule 22 sorted out. I want to be able to take a picture because that's what my Rule 22 says I can do. Staff attorney goes to the judge. Judge does not issue that order. 5 minutes later, Woody gets arrested for pleading the fifth on the stand, effectively. And Brian Steele says, look, that's grounds for a mistrial. You can't let a person you know is going to plead the fifth sit there and plead the fifth. It's prejudicial. The judge said they didn't know. And I'm looking at this like I knew, and that sheriff's deputy knew. And these defense attorneys are saying they heard that that was likely to happen. You can't tell me that the judge that I just asked to put something on the rule didn't have a reasonable basis to believe that the prosecution knew, except no, they didn't know.
Yeah, whatever the state wants, they play dumb every single time, and the state is allowed to do it. And that's the other thing. When there's an ex parte, I feel like it's partially the responsibility of the prosecutor in a situation where they're meeting with a witness and the judge. They have ethical duties as well to stop what's happening and say, listen, we should probably have the defense here if we're going to do this. And the judge is saying, yeah, well, it was recorded. It's like, well, when were you going to give it to us? And
that's why I think it's a security thing. That's why I think it's a security thing. I think he thinks an appellate court's going to look at that and go, oh, you were trying to save this witness's life by breaking this rule, and that's going to be okay.
Yeah.
I think the judge wants this trial done however he can get it done, so he can get it off his plate, and is just going to let an appellate court sort it out.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter that he's done things that are almost instantaneously reversible on appeal.
I mean, to demand that I tell you who gave me the information that you were part of an ex parte, little party in the back, that is not.
That's what I was waiting for before I start pausing it to catch up. So basically, everybody or a lot of people understand before you go to trial or you do whatever, or you get sentenced. Let me say it like that. Before you get sentenced, both of the lawyers and the judges sit down in a room and they have a discussion of what one person want, what you want. That's a lawyer's job, is to come in here and explain to the people how the other person want it and what the charges is. And then the other lawyer like, no, we want this. This is what my defendant wants. That's basically how it goes. So if you was in the back and you was a judge, and I guess in this situation right here, I'm not a judge, I'm not a lawyer, so don't quote me on this, but I'm under the influence that the judge cannot manipulate or influence any decision that goes on in this case. He's only there to make sure that it's equally foul, all the witnesses and everything goes smoothly. That's basically what a judge is there for. Sometimes he's there to rule, you know what I'm saying, because that's basically, a judge to rule. But yet again, influence is our thinking is more the case of what's going on right now. You can't be out here influencing.
Not a basis for contempt. I'm so glad that Ashley Merchant showed up like a white knight. She's just flying in there to let him know. And the judge doesn't know whether it's civil or criminal contempt. He just wants to do the most. I want to say this definitely before we get back in there, to hold people in contempt and put them in the Fulton County Jail. This is for not telling you what the judge claims that he already knows. He's like, I already know who told you. That is not a basis to keep somebody in the jail. And if Brian Steele has to go to the jail overnight for this, there's going to be, I can't even tell you the amount of backlash that's going to happen for this judge. I've tried cases in front of him before. I've never seen him act like this. It's been, every day it's getting worse and worse. And meanwhile, Miss Love is talking about how, maybe we should have Brian Steele stay in the courtroom, what the appropriate consequences are. It's like, what are the consequences for you having an ex parte communication with the judge? Oh, right. Nothing.
Well, am I back? Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, that was an excellent, I was listening to your conversation. That's great. That's great context. And so one of the questions that I had is, the judge, we covered this yesterday, Rachel. The judge was bent out of shape with mostly the defense lawyers, right? But because This guy took the stand and took the fifth. And like you guys were talking about, everybody knew that he was going to take the fifth. So why was his, I guess his ire not directed more at prosecutors, and why was it only directed at the defense lawyers?
I'll never understand. I want to ask him myself. Today I even got mad enough again. I wanted to text him again and I didn't. And then I have Adrian's number in my phone too. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get in trouble if I start misusing these numbers. But all these people have lost their minds. But she gets away with it. The state gets away with it every day because the judge seems to be completely fine with it. I
think the judge thinks.
Y'all make me think that the judge was really, I want to say, lost his rockers, but forgetting the fundamental rulings of being a judge. Now I could be wrong. Yet again, y'all, we coming in the middle of some hot, juicy Atlanta, Fannie Wallace, RICO case with Young Thugger, plus the Trump case. You know what I'm saying? It's really down here controversial going down in the ATL. But yet again, and this situation right here is really making me think to myself that, yeah, y'all are telling me that the judge is mostly not fundamentally remembering the proper steps of being a judge, just the basics. He's just not basically being a judge. He just winging it. And the more you wing it, because, there's been a lot of people that wing situations that definitely got caught. And I think he's definitely one in this situation.
The guy is guilty and is just trying to get it done.
Yeah, whatever it takes. And what's so funny too, George, because you weren't here yesterday, what bothers me is that this Kenneth Copeland character who's free and they're protecting him and they're having all these security guards trying to, make sure that his life is secure and protected so that he can be with his kids. He's no better than any single person who's a defendant in this case, and he's probably worse. Not because he's a snitch, but because of the things that we know that he's done. And they're treating him like he's some kind of like fragile angel that needs to be like, held up and made sure that nothing happens to him. Meanwhile, the judge is going to throw Young Thug's lawyer in the jail.
Yeah. Kenneth Copeland is a street monster. Like, just to understand, and I don't mean that in a pejorative sense, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been in a lot of gunfights. Like, the police have sort of described him like this sort of Punisher supervillain figure, shot at 100 times and missed, like cool under fire, professional, except he's a little scattered, in my opinion.
Well, let me show you guys. This was from the other day. This is this is the attorney, for Copeland, who had some problems with the prosecutor. Let's take a look.
And for an assertion to be made that I or Mr. Copeland are somehow being influenced by somebody over here is absolutely ridiculous. I take great offense to it, and I can tell Ms. Love that I am going to the state bar to report her for contacting a witness that she knows to be represented by counsel. She and I have had conversations about Kenneth Copeland.
All right, so that seemed to sort of address kind of the issue that you were talking about, George, where maybe they're saying that some of these defendants might want to do this witness some harm. But it seems like all the lawyers are talking about this, and I don't see any rational reason why the judge, if he's going to have this discussion with this witness, I mean, he's already been sworn in. Okay, the testimony is already underway. If he's going to have this conversation with this witness and with the prosecutor, you've got to include the defense attorneys. I don't see any way around that.
I agree with you.
Do you know who was filling in for John Melnick today?
No, I don't. But I got to tell you, I would assume that the judge assumes that is the person who talked to Steele.
And what's wrong with that? That's my
There's nothing wrong. Well, and you can't swear that lawyer to. It's improper for the judge to swear swear that lawyer to secrecy anyway.
But if the judge thinks that Woody's getting set up to get killed, the judge is going to want to know who talked to the defense. Like,
that's a lot of assumptions.
Isn't it though?
Yeah.
Like, it's the only, I'm reaching here. I don't mean to be like I'm a defending the judge. I'm just literally trying to work out. Like, I don't presume anybody I'm looking at is generally speaking, corrupt or incompetent or malicious. Like, what explanation fits the facts that we have?
Sorry,
Like,
George.
No, it's fine. It's just I'm looking for an explanation that fits the facts that we know, that doesn't leave everybody looking like a jerk. And that's the only thing I've got. I don't know.
I had a little technical issue on this, and I think it's been resolved. I want to try to finish up this just another minute or two. So let's see what the rest of this conversation was today.
Sworn in Friday, the court's telling, this is what I was told. If this is not true, not true. This court
Mr. Steele,
handed
ask
Mr.
me,
Copeland.
tell me how you
perjury.
got the information.
Listen, whatever you want to do.
Tell me how you got the information, then we can go ahead and go forward.
I'm not going to say that. What I'm going to say is this. I was told, and I hope this concerns the court.
It concerns me that you have proprietary information.
Why is it
or
proprietary?
information that you should not be having that was ex parte?
Why?
With a party.
Why?
State of Georgia.
How about the witness? How about Mr. Copeland, who supposedly announced he's not testifying and he'll sit for 2 years, and then supposedly this honorable court,
Okay.
or excuse me, let me rephrase that. This court supposedly said, I can hold you until the end of this trial. Ms. Hilton supposedly said, actually, all of the defendants and then all 26 people are disposed of. Is that true?
That's crazy. This is the part I was looking for. I hope I don't get in trouble, but this is them getting into it. This is what the big argument and the discussion is about.
What this is coercion, witness intimidation, ex parte communications that we have a constitutional right to be present for. So I understand that you're upset towards me, but I don't know what I did.
Mr. Steele, I
I'm doing
still
what
want to know,
everybody should
how did you come upon this information?
Is it me or is y'all see this lady in the white person? This person shaking their head back and forth like, yeah, you know they wrong. If everybody around her know you wrong, that's the problem that I'm looking at.
Who told you?
What I want to know is why wasn't I there? Why,
Sir, I'm going to hold you in contempt if you don't tell me who this. Tell me who this
I
information
don't
was
want to
come
be
from.
held in contempt.
Well,
I'm not
then-
answering that question. That's attorney-client privilege information. I am not
Attorney-client privilege. Unless you were in my chambers, that's the only way you can figure out.
I am
I
telling
tell you what, I'm going to give you 5 minutes. If you don't tell me,
You don't
who
have
you-
to. I'm
if
gonna
you don't tell me who it is, I'm going to put you.
Well, let me-
I'm going to put you in contempt
I
because
understand.
that is not attorney-client privilege.
Attorney work product privilege. I am not.
How did you get that information
I don't
supposedly
answer.
from my chambers? Did somebody tell you?
I'm not. You should have told me.
You got 5 minutes.
Well, I don't need it. I want to continue.
You got 5 minutes?
This is what I was told. Mr. Copeland made statements that he admitted to killing Donovan Thomas and was. Don't take my notes. No.
They fade away. That is, man, if y'all want more of the Rico case and what's going on, please let me know. Please hit me up. I will cover it. It's not a thing. But some chicken wine. It seems like it's really going down over there. And this Rico case does too. Like, yeah, we missing everything, y'all. We missing all the juices. You know, but yet again, like I said, there's so much going on, dog. It's really kind of hard to keep up with everything. You're definitely gonna miss something, some news or somehow, some case. To get to another topic, just to make sure that I cover it. Gotta make sure you cover it.
A historic day in the criminal justice system. For the first time, a child of a sitting U.S. president was found guilty in a court of law.
A jury of 6 men and 6 women convicted Hunter Biden of all 3 felony charges stemming from his 2018 gun purchase. That includes making a false statement in the purchase of a firearm, making a false statement to a licensed firearms dealer, and firearm possession by an unlawful drug user or addict. In a written statement, Hunter Biden said he was disappointed by the outcome, but grateful for the support of family and friends. Special counsel David Weiss oversaw the investigation into Hunter Biden.
It was these choices and the combination of guns and drugs that made
the problem is with some of us, and I get to the conservatives and what people are going to just lash out, is that this easy case that y'all was finna just throw out and throw it away because he's the president's son. And yet again, the president said he's not even going to inaugurate him. Stuff like this. This is what I heard. So it is what it is. But yet again, this simple case of somebody breaking the law that y'all was finna throw out because y'all want to say ain't nobody above the law. But yet again, he was about to be above the law. This should have got happened, what, 7 years ago? 4 years ago, however many years, whenever that laptop came out.
Misconduct dangerous. Second, no one in this country is above the law. Everyone must be accountable for their actions.
Hunter Biden's attorney said they will continue to pursue all legal challenges available.
He also faces a federal tax trial in California later this year.
A room of Black Republicans. Where are they? I'd love to see them. It would be like, look.
You hear the Black Republicans yelling when they seen Joe Biden's son. Joe Biden's son about to get locked up. That's what you seen. With sneak this and tell. Nah, yeah, I just wanted to play that real quick. Actually, I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought it was a bigger story. I bet there's a bigger story on other places. Let me see. I think this got covered a couple of days ago too. So therefore, I done miss all the. No, maybe not. Do. Stop playing. Get to the. I see how they do you. I feel like what
Three of these different charges, there are different maximum sentences that Hunter Biden could be sentenced to. In two of the charges, there is a maximum sentence of 10 years. In one of the other charges, it is a maximum sentence of 5 years. It is unlikely that he will get the maximum sentence on these three counts. The judge will have some discretion in terms of sentencing, and it is very likely that he will receive a much reduced sentence given the fact that he is a first-time offender. It's unclear just how long that sentence may be, or if there's even the possibility that there will be jail time at all. That is certainly under the discretion of the judge. But there are three separate counts here. They each have three different maximum sentences, two of them 10 years, one of them 5 years. There's also a question of whether or not they would be served consecutively or concurrently. But the chances that he would serve more than a decade in prison are very unlikely. The judge will have that discretion. And given the fact that he is a first-time offender, that's something that we are still waiting to learn exactly how long he may face in jail, if he faces any time at all.
All right. Ryan Nobles, thank you. Let me go back to our senior legal correspondent, Laura Jarrett. Now, Laura, you've had a moment to digest this. What should we be thinking about? What do we know here?
Lester, it's obviously a devastating blow to Hunter Biden and the Biden family, but it's not entirely unexpected as the evidence here was really challenging for the defense. This all stems from Hunter Biden filling out a form that's used essentially almost as a background check when you're trying to purchase a gun. And when he checked the box that said he was not addicted to a controlled substance or not an unlawful user, the government said that that was a lie, Lester, because he was using drugs at the time. And there was a mountain of evidence that came in at trial that he was addicted to crack cocaine. They used his own words. They used text messages. They used his book audio recording.
Y'all just finna let a crackhead just roam around the White House. Okay, we don't care. He does crack.
From him reading from his book, talking about his lengthy history and struggles with abuse over a number of years. The defense had tried to say the government doesn't have any evidence that he actually used drugs on the day that he actually purchased the gun. So how could they prove it? But the government came along and said, look, we don't have to show that he was using the drugs on that very day. All we have to show is that they were using it around that time, and there was plenty of evidence on that score. And clearly, on this point, the jury there agreed, Lester, given how quickly they came back with this verdict. Remember, all of this may never have happened if their plea deal had gone forward, but that was sort of scrapped weeks ago, really months ago, after it fell apart under a judge's scrutiny. And so now he is facing potentially a prison sentence. It's going to be entirely up to the judge, as Ryan laid out there. The maximum sentence here, Lester, is 10 years. But the judge could do something far short of that, given that he doesn't have a criminal record. He doesn't have a criminal history. She could do something far less than that, even probation, perhaps. But again, all of this would have gone away completely with no jail time if that plea deal had not fallen apart, Lester.
All right, Laura, thank you. I'll ask you to stand by as well as we bring in NBC News legal analyst Danny Savala. So, Danny, what are Hunter Biden's options?
If you're not going to put him in jail, y'all know he need to go. Let him sit at a rehab just as long as y'all going to put him in jail. That's cool.
At this point.
At this point, they wait for the sentencing date, which is generally 3 to 4 months out from the conviction. And he'll meet with his probation officer as they prepare the pre-sentence report and start moving towards sentencing, which is generally relatively a short period of time. It can get extended. But from there, after that sentencing date, that is when they file their notice of appeal and start beginning the appellate process, which they undoubtedly will do. But the next steps in this case are proceed to sentencing and argue for a probation-only sentence, which, as Laura pointed out, is a possibility. The sentencing guidelines, roughly calculated, are around 15 to 21 months. But for over a decade now, the United States sentencing guidelines are not mandatory. The judge will calculate them at the sentencing, but ultimately the judge can deviate from them and go below the guidelines, which is likely, although most judges, to ensure that their sentence will not be appealed, will usually stay within the guidelines. A probation-only sentence is a possibility.
All right, Danny, thank you. I want to go back to Ryan Nobles outside the courthouse. Ryan, throughout this trial, we've seen appearances by First Lady Dr. Jill Biden. Is she at the courthouse today?
As a matter of fact, she is, Lester. She just arrived back here at the courthouse just shortly after the verdict was read. So she was not in the courtroom when her son learned his fate. But you're absolutely right. She's been in the courtroom all but one day of this trial. She sat through a lengthy period of jury selection, listening to the jurors being questioned about possibly sitting on this panel. She sat through much of the very grueling, embarrassing, and sometimes heartbreaking testimony from the people that are close associates of Hunter Biden, his former romantic partners, his ex-wife, his ex-girlfriend, Hallie Biden, who is, of course, the widow of Beau Biden, their late son, who was also a romantic partner of Hunter Biden. Jill Biden was there for most of this and listened to that testimony and was there to support Hunter Biden, often embracing him, giving him a kiss as he would either leave or walk into the courtroom. And it's also important to point out that this came at a busy time for the First family. She actually left Wilmington and flew to France to be there for the anniversary of D-Day, was here in Wilmington for just one day, and then flew back to France for the weekend for the official state visit that her husband, President Joe Biden, was a part of before flying back here to Wilmington to be with Hunter Biden again for this verdict to be read. So she's had a very prominent spot in the courtroom, sitting in the first row every single.
Oh. You waiting on them papers to get passed over. Pass those papers over. Sign them. Hurry up. Become a zillionaire.
She was sitting at one point with Peter Neal, who is, of course, the husband of Naomi Biden, her granddaughter, who had a very tearful and very powerful testimony as well. And it's also important to point out that that's not something the prosecution ignored. During his closing argument, Leo Wise, the federal prosecutor, part of the federal prosecution team, made note of the fact that there were a number of prominent people in the gallery supporting Hunter Biden, but also making sure the jury understood that they should not be part of their deliberations, that no one is above the law, was the point that Leo Wise made, despite the fact that Joe Biden was in that room every single day. And in addition to Jill Biden, we saw James Biden, who's, of course, the president's brother, Valerie Biden Owens, who is the president's sister. Many of them in this courtroom on a day-to-day basis, there to support Hunter Biden throughout this period of time and over the course of this trial. And one other point I want to make, Lester, as
They're not calling him a convicted felony like they doing Trump. Somebody did say that, and I'm really up here listening like they really not calling this dude a convicted felony, none at all. That is crazy to me. That is wild.
learning more information as it comes out of the courtroom. Is at this point, the judge has not set a sentencing date. That's something that will be set at a later time. So we don't right now know the time frame by which Hunter Biden will learn his fate in terms of sentencing as it relates to this case. Lester.
All right, Ryan, thanks. Let's get the view now from the White House. Senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez is standing by.
Yeah, they're not going to do it. They're not going to call him. They're not going to call him.
Gabe, do we expect to hear from the president? We understand he did not want to put his thumb on the scale during the trial, but now that there is a verdict, will he likely speak?
Hi there, Lester. Well, so far, there's no immediate response from the White House or the Biden campaign just yet. But if we do hear from the president shortly, we expect it to be potentially similar to the statement that he gave at the beginning of this trial. And you remember, the president has been very reluctant to weigh in on this case, which, as you said, reluctant to tip the scales here. But at the beginning of this trial, he gave a very heartfelt statement talking about how he's also a dad and that Jill and I love our son. He also brought up that a lot of families have loved ones across the country who have overcome addiction. So it's possible we may hear some type of that sentiment from the president. Lester, it is a bit ironic. In several hours, the president, who is here in Washington, is set to give remarks at a gun safety conference here in D.C. This, of course, as his son has now been convicted of lying on a gun background check form. But as Ryan alluded to, this has been a very difficult time for the Biden family, with Dr. Jill Biden going to and from France and being in the courtroom virtually every day. The president is expected to leave to the G7 summit tomorrow in Italy. But again, we are awaiting comment right now from the White House. We don't have one just yet, Lester.
All right, Gabe, thank you for that. For more
Call him a convicted felony, please.
politics of all this, let's bring in our senior Washington correspondent, Hallie Jackson. Hallie, since the day that Hunter Biden was indicted, this has been an ongoing question of, is this going to be political baggage weighing down on the president's campaign? What's the view right now?
Well, even now, Lester, that is still somewhat of an open question, only because there is just not a lot of polling recently that tells us how voters are feeling about what has happened to Hunter Biden. And obviously, since this guilty verdict came in just the last couple of minutes, we don't have it yet. Here's what
It doesn't. I don't think people care. Real smack. We don't care. It's not affecting like anybody for real.
I can tell you about the broader political landscape here, that overall numbers over the course of the last 6-8 months or so prior to this trial beginning suggested that the majority of voters felt that Hunter Biden was being treated fairly by the justice system. And frankly, not many of them felt like this would change their position. The ones who did, that fell almost entirely along partisan lines. So it seems unlikely, at least at this point, based on the information we have, that this could move the needle much with persuadable voters. That said, in one survey, about 2% of Democrats suggested that perhaps if Hunter Biden were to be convicted, that could sway them one way or the other, or sway them away from President Biden. Tiny slice of the electorate. This is going to be a close election. But again, we've got to, I think, hit the brakes a bit on that piece of it, because we just don't know how this will play out more broadly, how many people are paying attention here to what's happening. If you look at the way that this could impact the campaign from the president's perspective, you heard Gabe Gutierrez there from the White House North Lawn talk about it. This has been a searingly gut-wrenching trial in many ways for the Biden family. You think about those moments when you had Hunter Biden's daughter on the stand recounting very difficult moments with her father, Hunter Biden himself nearly in tears. Remember that the prosecution acknowledged this, calling much of the evidence that was laid out in this case personal and ugly, but calling that absolutely necessary, and describing to the jury how everything that brought Hunter Biden to this point were his choices and his alone. The jury, obviously today, with this guilty verdict, with this conviction, bought the prosecution's argument, essentially, as Hunter Biden is now convicted. Lester, keep in mind that while we don't know his sentencing date, we do know that this is not the last collision between Hunter Biden's legal issues and his father's political campaign here, because remember what happens in September. That is the date, at least for now, of Hunter Biden's next criminal trial on those felony tax charges for, as the prosecution lays out in that instance, spending his money on everything but taxes, essentially, on drugs, on illicit sex partners, et cetera. So this is not going to be the last time that we will see Hunter Biden or hear about some of his behaviors and some of his actions, Lester.
All right, Hallie, I want to pick up with that as I bring back senior legal correspondent Laura Jarrett. Laura, what about other legal exposure that Hunter Biden is facing?
Lester, that's always been the question, whether those tax charges are the end of the road or there's even more. Remember, if the plea deal had gone through, he would have pled guilty to some of those tax misdemeanors, and then that would have been the end of the story. But now there could be other charges that they could add on top of this, and it's just hard to know exactly how big his exposure is. We do know, though, as Hallie mentioned, he's going to go to trial in September on 9 counts, including tax evasion and essentially spending his money on all kinds of other things, but his taxes, according to the government. Now, the defense would push back and say he eventually repaid all of that, so no harm, no foul. But of course, that's not how the law works. And now that we see this guilty verdict, it'd be interesting to see whether his legal advice is that he needs to plead guilty to those charges to avoid yet another conviction from a jury in that case. He obviously has the option now to plead guilty to the tax charges in September. I'm not suggesting that he will. I'm just saying that's now on the table, and it may be a consideration given how this case turned out. In some ways, the tax charge is more serious, Lester, and certainly the facts quite damning. A lot of evidence there, more text messages, more evidence, all sort of part of this long period of anguish and struggles. Again, his mental health struggles, the addiction, the abuse will be part of that as well. But there will be a lot more embarrassing evidence about all the things he was spending money on instead of his taxes, Lester.
All right. Thank you, Laura. For more, let's bring in NBC News legal analyst Kristen Gibbons-Fadden. How complicated a case was this against Hunter, or was it not complicated at all?
I don't think it was complex at all, Lester. I think it was pretty straightforward. In this particular case, there was only 3 charges. And in those 3 charges, really the prosecution just had to show, 1, that Biden was lying to a federally licensed gun dealer, right? That was when he filled out the form. 2, that he was making a false claim on the federal firearms application, again, the same set of facts, and that he possessed an illegally obtained gun for a certain period of time in October of 2018. Again, the same conduct. So even though there were 3 charges, all of it surrounded the same episodic criminal act, which was lying on a federal form to obtain a gun. And really the prosecution just had to show, 1, that he was lying, but then 2, the addiction. And I think that's where it became a little bit difficult, because with addiction, you can't really show that someone was actively using unless you ask that person when they get on the stand. And we know that most defendants don't take the stand. And we know in this case, Hunter Biden did not take the stand. So they weren't able to ask him directly, but certainly all of the evidence that they put on, all of the family members that they put on certainly showed that beyond a reasonable doubt, obviously, as the jury stated.
All right, Kristen, thanks very much. Let's go back to Ryan Nobles outside the courthouse. Obviously, we couldn't see. This is a live picture, actually, we're looking at right now.
It ain't live for us, y'all. I'm not gonna hold y'all. It went down. Hunter Biden is in jail. Nobody cares. This is not gonna stop the election by no means possible. Y'all keep chilling. Have a beautiful day. Until next time, I appreciate it. Good night.